So, like a nightly tradition to document the destruction of a society. I mean, what else could I be possibly doing with my time? Like sleeping? Yeah, that'd be great. It's like 2:45 in the morning, and do you think that I can actually sleep? I'm here laying in my bed, and I'm like, well, what calms me down is to actually, put my thoughts into words here. And once again, I apologize for the terrible background. We got some muck on the concrete, which I'm gonna get cleaned up and I'm gonna put a nice finish, but don't worry about the background. There's some this can of propane here, which I use for cooking and all this stuff. So, the point about all this stuff is, to make a tea. What do I got today? Apple and dragon fruit. Yeah, apple and dragon fruit tea. To be able to document the destruction of a society and lament what could have been. Lament what could have been is actually the whole point of today's video. We're lamenting what could have been. Man, had that not happened, what is that, right? That, and I've said this numerous times, but if you're new to the channel, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is John Michael, and I'm a pro-life activist, right? I represent the Association for the Traditional Families, right? So what is that? What's going on? What's the problem? Okay, so the problem is that these birth control pills do not actually prevent the pregnancy, the conception is certainly suppressed at a percentage of the time, and it's not suppressed contrary to popular belief. So the lie is that these doctors, or so-called doctors, which violate their Hippocratic oath all the time, will lie to the patient and say that they're suppressing the ovulation all the time, but it's not actually the case. They don't actually suppress the ovulation 100% of the time. So what happens is that there's some the sperm will successfully come in contact with the egg, and what a beautiful life that is. So the whole point of that is that the birth control pills don't prevent the ovulation, and they don't prevent the conception, and there's a baby boy or baby girl that is conceived. But the problem is that the later and very natural stage of implantation, where with the fertilized ovum will be developing, there would be a zygotic genome activation. If you followed embryology, you know what I'm talking about. The zygotic genome activation is the brand new set of DNA, 50% from the mother, 50% from the father, but 100% new, right? A new set of DNA. What a beautiful thing that is. I don't think there's anything more beautiful in this world than that right there. So, and then the most disgusting thing in the whole world is that these birth control pills will not actually prevent the conception. The baby, the fertilized ovum will be successfully conceived, and then after that the baby will die at the very latest, very natural and healthy stage of development, which is implantation, so the baby will die. So what I'm saying is that the birth control pills cause early abortion. That's what is actually happening, and it's so frightening to even imagine that. And that issue in itself enabled me to generate over 150 videos just on this channel alone. Right, so this channel, well, your channel sucks, it's got no views or whatever. Well, right now, it doesn't matter, right? So the year's 2025, right? Right now, as I'm recording these videos, in July, my daughter's 4, she's going to be 4 next week, right? She's 4 years old. My treasure upon this earth is my daughter. Well, all my children, I love my children very much, but I'm just highlighting my 4-year-old daughter because, wow, what a wonderful girl she is. My treasure. So if you're a daddy of a daughter out there, you know what I'm talking about. So who am I talking to? Am I talking to anybody? No, because nobody's watching my videos right now. But what about in the next generation? So let's hope that my voice rings true until 100 years from now. So the point about the videos that I was making, if you know me from another YouTube channel, then you probably remember me as, John Michael's Adventures, and I was doing all kinds of wacky stuff and all this stuff, and, generating lots and lots of content and views and everything, and people were generally, it was, very mixed reviews. People were agreeing with me, and everybody that didn't agree with me couldn't actually say why, that they really hated my content, but they couldn't explain why. They just hated me. They didn't hate my message, because they can't say anything bad about my message. They just hated me because I was the deliverer of the good news, right? So that's usually how it goes. I bring to you truth, law, facts, evidence, right? 100% of the time, truth, law, facts, and evidence. And if anything that I ever say on my channel is is not true, please contact me, and I will immediately concede to, to being corrected. I want to be corrected. I want to bring out the truth 100% of the time. And what is the truth of birth control pills cause early abortion, right? So that's the point of what a perverse idea, right? A perverse idea that the doctors will market. They're just sales ladies. That's all they are. The doctors are sales ladies. Dr. Michelle Dawes is a sales lady. Creating this deception, right? Creating this deception in the mind of the woman that for it's now okay, it's now permissible to become an absolute man, the lifestyle that she's selling, right? She's selling a lifestyle of sleeping around and just call it what it is, right? It's really not anything that a reasonable a man would want to marry, right? It's not. Dr. Dow's customers are they slept around in their 16, 17, 18, these are young ladies destroying their virginity, right? Because Dr. Dow says it's okay now because it's a woman's right. No. Let's get the facts straight. A woman's right. Living in Canada could have been just a wonderful. The United States of America, Canada, France, England, Germany, and all these beautiful nations, right? It could have been so great. Oh, it could have been so great. But who is attacking us, right? Well, there's an answer to that question, which we're not going to talk about in today's video. And if you know the answer, you know why I'm not going to be talking about it in today's video, because you are hearing my voice, and if I would have been talking about that in today's video, then you would have not been hearing my voice right now, if you know what I mean. Censorship, of course, right? So censorship is the whole point. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know. But if you don't know, don't worry about it. You're an ignorant person. At this point in time, if you really don't know what I'm talking about, you are so ignorant and blind that you deserve exactly what you have. You're an ignorant person, right? So if some things are spoken so loudly without even saying it. Listen, I don't hate those guys either. They are just doing what they think, incorrectly, because of their telling them that this is the way that it should be, but it's not. So they've, how should I say this without getting censored? Probably best to not talk about that entirely. So just infer what I was going to say at this point. So I'm going to stop talking about that because there's no sense in talking about that, because if I talk about that, then I'm going to get my whole channel banned, right? So why would I get my whole channel banned? Well, then you can infer that if you don't know. And if you don't know, then you're an ignorant person, and you deserve that is your punishment for being so ignorant, is that you are an ignorant person. If that makes any sense. It does actually make sense. I promise you that. But what I'm trying to say here is that what could have been, right? So these beautiful nations, right? These wonderful nations are being attacked, and that's the course of history. I guess we can lament the fall of a civilization. Is it really important to go as far as making a whole YouTube channel about it? Well, maybe. It certainly helps me sleep. I get this apple and dragon fruit tea, and it's very hot. So, very hot. So then I'm going to drink this apple and dragon fruit tea, and then I'm going to talk about the fall of a civilization, and I'll be like, well, now I can sleep. I've been having a hard time sleeping lately. Sleeping is not something that a guy like me can, have a good relationship with. Sleeping is a good thing, on the later side, when you're trying to wake up and you're like, well, I think I'm going to sleep for 20 more minutes, and then a couple hours pass by. Thank goodness my job is, I'm a teacher, I work online as a teacher. Thank goodness my job is in the evenings, right? So, but anyway, 3 in the morning here, I'm just chilling here in the early morning of the night. The early morning in the night. It's the night. It's the early morning. Man, the fall of a civilization is certainly quite a topic to talk about. So, here's another topic about the fall of a civilization, is that it's perfectly preventable, but also the fact that these men are so naive to the situation, they don't even understand. Some of these guys, they actually purchase these abortifacient birth control pills for their daughters, right? They imagine me, my wonderful daughter. Her name is Alex with an E accent aigu, and she is so perfect, man. What an amazing gift from God. What an amazing gift from God she is, right? And I have my wonderful daughter Maria, and my wonderful kids, man, they're great. Michelangelo, my incredible son, my incredible son, and more. I have many children. Stefan is my best friend in this whole world. Stefan is my son. Christophe is my son. My son Christophe, and Francoise. Francoise is my daughter, and she's just a little amazing little rascal who is almost nearing the end of the terrible twos. Francis is just really great. But the thing about those children are they are alive and all that stuff. But I do. I have fathered more children who have perished, and that is a incredible burden to 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 come to grips with, right? To grieve, right? To grieving the loss of my children, right? Oh, you got six. Don't you think you have enough kids? What? Are you really gonna make that argument? Yeah, I was putting an ad in the Claire Shopper, no word of a lie, and the owner there, she's like, "Don't you got enough kids?" Or what? You have the same number of children as I. Anyway, never mind that. It's not important. This society is so brainwashed to the fact that they're destroying their own future that they're so brainwashed that they, permit they permit it to happen, right? They're so brainwashed that they permit the destruction of the society to happen, right? And so, we know this is a thing, but the whole point of this video here is kind of to take a moment and kind of come to terms with all that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about drinking a tea and coming to terms with. That's the point of this video. The point of this video is coming to terms with the fact that the society is, on its way to doom, being doomed, right? Doom, right? The word doom has a very specific meaning, and it is exactly what we were seeing here. And we got all these words here. We got, came up on my channel here. Grotesque, right? We made a whole video about that, right? It is grotesque how a doctor would lie to the patient about women's rights, would deceive them into thinking that it is the women's right to kill their children, and the real women's rights is to empower them and enable them to have children if they want. The best way to prevent pregnancy is to keep your knickers on. But she never says anything about that. Right? She never says anything about keeping your knickers on. No, take this pill that costs you money. Keeping your knickers on, that's free. That's 100% free, right? So the point is, right, these women do not want to do that, right? They want to go ahead and act a fool, right? And be the little how should I say this in a friendly way? A whore, right? Yeah, that's a very friendly way. I was going to say something much worse, but that's basically exactly what kind of man would want that for a wife, right? Want a doctor to his customers, right? Let's be honest, right? I certainly don't, right? So I traveled the world. I went to Europe. To Europe for a while, Spain and all this stuff. Yeah, that was nice. Spain was a great place. The Czechoslovakian Republic, that was nice. Very great time over there. Germany, I did go to France, but not that time. But Europe is wonderful. It's a wonderful place, but we still had the problem. So I started traveling some more, and I went to Bulgaria and those kinds of places, and then I'm in the Philippines right now, so that's where I am right now in the Philippines, and I just happened to find out a lovely wife who gave me a whole bunch of kids. I thank you very much for tuning in. We're just coming to terms with the fact that the society is doomed, right? It's doomed. What an uncanny thing that these people cannot even see it. They cannot see it. They just cannot see it, right? So kind of to chill out, to come to terms with that, and to make the whole idea a little bit more palatable is the whole point of this video. I guess I didn't really give that much information on this video, but the whole point of it was to kind of allow ourselves to kind of make the idea a little bit more palatable, I suppose. Anyway, I'll see